Welcome back in, builders. This week we're taking a look at Late Age Man, Tower of the Chelms. The realm of man is a feudal kingdom. Their kingdom was established by conquering a race of tall and magically powerful beings known as the Tuatha. When the Tuatha were destroyed, their magic was taken by the witches of man. They helped man grow in power and influence, but with such a great magic came a great curse, and the witches dwindled in number and magic left the kingdom. To contain the curse, the old magic was banned, and a scholarly order of magisters replaced the witches of Avalorn and their wild ways. The infantry of man has evolved since the age of Avalorn, and the crossbow is common, but knights and longbowmen still make up a large part of the armies. The wardens of Avalorn have escaped the curse and are the only remnant of the old ways. So another nation here with just kind of some light lore, although most of this is just kind of a hey, we're not what we used to be, and now we use crossbows. So I don't know. Could use a little bit of a glow up here on the for lore. For national features, we are a race of humans. We have, I think, some Tuathan or maybe some, I don't know, some non-human blood here. When we look at stats, we're going to see we're a little bit better than regular men. For infantry, we use infantry, longbowmen, crossbow-equipped heavy infantry, knights, and the wardens of Avalorn. For magic, we are pretty good in air, and we have a little bit of earth, astral, some fire, some glamour, and a rare death. Mage's research is not affected by drain scales. That's a pretty nice little bonus here and can make for some interesting scales. Our priests are average, and we do have inquisitors. Inquisitor allows you to double your priest levels for the purposes of destroying enemy candles. For buildings, we do standard forts. Standard forts of the age are now citadels, and we start with a grand citadel, which is the next step up, and our magisters can actually upgrade to those grand citadels in other locations. Pretty darn nice, and a pinnacle of architecture within dominions. For sites, we have two different sites. We have the Forest of Avalorn. This allows us to recruit our cap-only leader and sacred. Gives us a nature gem. Note, we have no nature magic. And a glamour gem. Also, we have the Seminary of the Magistars, which gives us an air gem and an earth gem. Units and sacreds. We have a pretty decent lineup of units here. A little bit of redundancy, but not too bad. First up, we have a light archer. This is a human, almost like militia level short bow, wearing leather gear. I don't like these guys. I don't think they're worthwhile. I don't think you would ever get these. We have better ranged options if we needed them. Next up, we have a crossbow man. This is a relatively standard crossbow of late age. 9 gold, 9 resources, 7 recruitment points makes them dirt cheap. Do note they have really bad morale at 8. Otherwise, human level stats, although slightly better than normal precision. We have a standard crossbow, and we are equipped with a ringmail cuirass and an iron cap. That is decent gear, I would say. You can definitely take a hit from maybe a short bow and be all right, but heavier things are, of course, going to cause you problems. Overall, these guys are good, although do note that's really bad morale. That is something kind of to keep an eye on. Next up, we have Spearman. This guy has some really strong indie energy. 10 gold, 9 resources, 9 recruitment points, wielding a spear. He is a human through and through. He is up to 10 morale within his training. A 13 damage, 10 attack spear is very disappointing, and you're going to struggle to do much with that. Defense-wise, ringmail cuirass, an iron cap, and a shield means he has 8 protection on his body. This is basically a light troop at this point. So not particularly useful, maybe if I was in a big pinch, but if I'm in a big pinch, I think I would rather have a long spear. This guy is a little bit heavier, and he's traded out his spear for a long spear. So now we have a length 4 weapon, otherwise the same 10-13 damage. We are equipped with a scale mail cuirass, an iron cap, and a shield. So now we're up to at least 10 protection on the body. That's useful. I would say the main use here is to try to repel cavalry charges, or maybe other kind of cruddy infantry, I suppose. You could just go for repels, but with low attack and low protection, not really a sustainable troop, unfortunately. Next up, we have Axeman. This is a Human, slightly better training than usual, 11 HP, 11 strength, 10, 11, and 9 for the cost. He is wielding just a length 1 axe that is 10 attack and 19 slashing damage. Very nice damage there. That's pretty respectable. Wearing a ringmail hauberk, an iron cap, and a shield. These guys are all right. A little on the light side, but if you just need to hit something very hard for a budget, these guys can do that. And their big brother, the heavy axeman. Same exact guy, except for he's gone up to a chainmail hauberk, an iron cap, and a shield. So now we have 15 on the body and 16 on the head. These guys are all right. Do note length 1 makes you kind of repellable, and low attack means if you're fighting people with good defense, you're going to struggle a bit. But a 19 slashing weapon can put some hurt on people and can break shields pretty decently too. Next up, we have Tower Guard. Tower Guard are a very interesting unit for us. 12 gold, 23 resources, 14 recruitment points, slightly better than human stats, including well-trained with 12 morale and 11 attack and 11 precision. That is all usable. Our only trait here is castle defense bonus 1, so we're just a little bit better at holding walls up. But the big thing here is we're equipped with a length 1 broadsword that we're good with. That's 12 attack for 16 slashing damage. That's a nice attack for just kind of a standard line troop. And we have a crossbow. So, and we're good with this. 13, it gives you 2 precision, and we have a 11 normally. 13 is a very precise shot. Yes, it's only 11 piercing, but remember it is armor piercing damage. So you half the protection, then you take 15% off, and then you deal your damage. Also fires every other round. Nice crossbow. We are equipped with the chainmail cuirass, half helmet, and a kite shield. Kite shields are notable for being really good. 19 protection, it's only -2 defense, and we have a 6 parry value. Even their encumbrance, this is only 6 encumbrance for a pretty darn good troop. I guess I'd have to call them a medium troop, but the distance between light and heavies has definitely shrunk a little bit here. I like these guys a lot. Because you have those crossbows, you can stay in nice formation and receive buffs and fire off those crossbows. With their good range, you can get 2 or maybe even 3 or 4 volleys off before anybody closes with you. I like to have these guys on either fire cavalry or fire closest, and usually, unless there's something crazy going on, you could probably get the first enemy unit heading towards you to rout either right before they get to you or right on clash, which is huge. And while your other people are staying in formation, they're firing their crossbows to support the people who are in the melee. And they're precise enough that you're not going to be too bad on the friendly fire. So overall, I like these guys quite a bit. And this is not that bad of a cost for what you're getting for it. Next up, we have the Forester. These guys are very disappointing. I feel like these should be recruit from any forest, but they are not. I'm not sure why we lost that ability. These are human troops, 12, 7, 14 for the recruitment. Recruitment points is a little high there for what you get. Leather armor, a leather cap. He's dual wielding an axe and dagger, and he has a short bow. I mean, he is stealthy. He does have forest survival. He has a good patrol bonus, and he's ambidextrous. But this is definitely a light troop. I suppose if he needs to just cut his way through other light troops, 10 attack with 18 damage and 11 attack with 12 damage is pretty decent. But the short bow's kind of whatever. I guess maybe they like hold an attack closest, so they fire their short bow a couple times before they run in, I guess. I'm not certain. If these guys were recruit anywhere from forests, I think I would be much more interested in them. As it is, I don't think I would get these because my forts could be doing other things. Next up, we have longbowmen. We are not letting the dream die. We are keeping the longbow. And weirdly enough, I actually really like these because I can have our heavy infantry with crossbows, and they can do the crossbow duty, which means my range units, yeah, I could get more crossbows and that would be fine. Or I could get these longbows who outrange most crossbows and can shoot at the enemy crossbows. So oftentimes I'll have my heavy infantry on hold and fire closest, and I'll have the longbows on hold and fire enemy archers. And that seems to work out pretty decently. Ironically enough, one problem I do have is we'll run out of ammo here first on the longbowmen, and they'll try to run into melee. Luckily, generally speaking, your crossbows will be in a nice solid line and they'll keep these idiots safe. It's really unfortunate that I can't tell them just to hold still when you're out of ammo, and they insist on running forward with their short sword. As it is, at least they're okay at it. 12 strength here, 11 hit points, 12 precision. This is high stats for a human, and not really breaking the bank either. 12, 11, 14 is not a bad price for this. Armored with a remill cuirass and an iron cap. This is a nice longbowman, I have to say. Pretty usable. Finally, we have Defender. Defenders are also really nice. 16, 27, 23, so a little more expensive than the Tower Guard. They have a better castle defense bonus. They are 13 attack, 17 damage compared to the Tower Guard's 12 and 16, so they do go up a little bit. They are also wielding a crossbow, and they're even better with it. They're up to 12 precision, and the crossbow is giving them 2. So they are very precise in their shots. And we're wearing heavier gear. We have the chainmail hauberk, a half helmet, and a kite shield. I like these guys a lot. If I can afford it, this is my front line. They're good at staying position. You can buff them up really well. They like lots of different kinds of buffs, and they can make use out of things like giant strength very well with both their crossbow and their broadsword. Body ethereal is really nice. Yeah, even air shield isn't bad. They already have a pretty good shield, but that'll just make them pretty much immune to enemy crossfire, which is nice. Also, because these guys have crossbows, I believe the AI targets them as if they're archers, keeping your longbowmen safe from other crossbows. Because if you have crossbows or any other bow firing into these guys, and they have a kite shield and heavy armor, they have a pretty decent chance of not getting killed. So they can kind of provide cover for the longbowmen behind them. I like these defenders a lot. Next up, we have a Tower Knight. This is a good heavy cavalry. Has a lance and a broadsword. He's good with both. Full chainmail, a full helmet, and a kite shield gives him 18 on the body, 21 on the head. And his destrider is a plate-barded warhorse that is 18 on the body and 21 on the head. So a true heavy cav is an animal, and it does have the magic weakness, but that's not, I mean, you can't really get around that very easily. Pretty good unit here. Unfortunately, they compete for production resources with our other units, so I find these a little hard to get out in decent numbers, but I think a group of these on a flank is a pretty nasty thing and relatively hard to get rid of, frankly. Finally, we have the Warden. This is our cap-only sacred. 26, 31, 31 makes him kind of expensive. He has better than human stats, but not ridiculously so. 13 hit points, 12 strength, 12 attack, 12 precision. His gear gives him 18 protection. Do note he doesn't have a shield. 11 magic resist and good morale at 14. He's sacred, he's stealthy, and he has forest survival. Equipped with a great sword that he's good with. 24 slashing damage with a 13 attack is nice. And he has the good crossbow also. These guys are a little difficult. They're cap only. They're not bad in any way, but are they so good that I should spend points on a big bless? I don't think so. If I was going to, I think you need to pick something either defensive or it's going to help you with both your greatsword and your crossbow. Because if you don't do that, I think you're kind of throwing away some points here. And I think with the armies as large as they're getting in late age, the ability of a slightly better than human sacred to really swing things around has definitely waned somewhat. I also want to point out something really interesting. We are in late age, which means Lemuria could happen, and we don't have any native magic weapons. So if you were to take a magic weapon bless, it would apply to both your greatsword and your crossbow, which is really handy. But I want to call it a mechanic that is super duper rare and hardly ever talked about. And that is the mechanics for determining ranged hits. I'm going to ignore the rules for precision and deviation. That's a separate thing. We've already decided we're hitting a square with people in it. The size of the people in the square is the percentage chance that that person is what is hit by your arrow. I'm going to assume we've already finished that calculation. Then the actual calculation for hitting the actual unit is, and I quote, I'll put this on screen, attacker, DRN, which is 2d6, plus size of the points in the square divided by 2, plus 2 if magic weapon. So if you give these guys a magic weapon bless, you actually increase your odds of landing your ranged shots. That is versus defenders who get a DRN plus their shield parry value times 2 minus fatigue divided by 20. So a relatively complicated formula, but essentially that +2 to magic weapons actually getting a hit is actually kind of relevant. And especially if you're trying to fire into people with good shields, it'll help you overcome that earlier before they're super duper fatigued. And this is an age with lots of kite shields, full shields, tower shields. So if you are going to have a ranged person and you're going to give them you have the ability to give them magic weapons, that is something of note. That is a mechanic that I don't think I've ever noticed before when I was just looking at, is magic weapons going to be any good for me here? Food for thought, to be sure. Heroes, commanders, and prophet. For heroes, we have 2. First up, we have the Green Knight. This is basically a heavy cav riding a unicorn. He's sacred, has regen, stealth, force survival, recuperation, and he's a very skilled rider using a lance and broadsword. He has a Fey helmet, a Fey plate armor, and a gossamer shield. Very good, interesting gear. He has great stats, good magic resistance, good morale, and his unicorn is decent, although wearing light-ish barding, but it's not horrible, and does have a magic horn, so you do have a magic weapon there. Unfortunately, he's not immortal or anything, doesn't have any magic paths. If you get him, cool, use him, whatever, not really going to change anything. Second, we have a Vampire Lord, and he is actually really relevant because he has death. Death is only on a 25% chance on one unit that we don't really like to recruit, and he has blood too. Other than that, he is an actual Vampire Lord, which makes him pretty decent. He does have immortality, and he does have seduction. That is all really nice. Unfortunately, he is a pop killer, but what can you do? We have some national spells that need death, and that he can automatically ensure that we can do that. And he also gives us a light way to do some blood. I don't know if we're ever really going to have the time to get really deep into blood, but if nothing else, a little bit of sight searching, and then he could do some blood hunting and make some low tier blood items. I'm thinking maybe imp familiars for some research bonus could be kind of nice. Or yeah, and he is immortal, so have fun with that. Overall, cool hero, kind of out of left field, and he brings in some pathing that we really don't have, so that's pretty nice. Going up to commanders, we start off with the Royal Forester. This is an expensive scout unit. He has 55 stealth. He costs 55 gold, 8 resources, and 1 recruitment point. So unfortunately, a lot more expensive than a regular scout. He's better equipped as a scout, but I mean, how often are you fighting people with that? That's kind of whatever. But at least we have a scout, so I'm going to give it a thumbs up. We have the Castilian. People have said I say that like it's a Spanish word, but it's really a French word, so my apologies there. This is our standard leader. He has 100 leadership. He has all right gear and whatnot. Again, very high indie energy here. 15 on the body, 18 on the head's all right, and he does have a shield, so he's a fine leader. He has formations at least. He's not super expensive. He's fine. Next up, we have the Judge. An interesting unit here. I really wish he had like a 90% chance to get either or, rather than 125% chance to get fire and 125% chance to get death. That's a little unfortunate. In my test game behind us here, I think I got 4 of these guys and nobody got any magic, which made me very sad. They also have a patrol bonus of 20. That's really high, especially for a nation. Like, if this Judge was a unit in Late Age Ulm or another blood hunt, like major blood hunting nation, this would be a lot more interesting. Because if you didn't get the magic paths, you could use them to go out and patrol. As it is, I'll usually roll the dice a couple times, I think, to try to get some fire or some death. And then I'll have these guys go out and patrol down any unrest or events I get, and they can start being my fort builders. For 100 gold, 1 resource, 1 recruitment point, they're very cheap there. They have some leadership, so they could ferry around some reinforcements. Other than that, though, kind of disappointing. I really wish this was like a 90% or even a 50% chance to get one or the other. Because, yeah, that's just really, really low. unfortunately. And just as food for thought, you can hit both, and if you do, you could do Banefire. Just something of interest, I suppose. He does also have Unhindered Researcher. All of our researchers are going to have this. This means we are not having our magic research hindered by drain scales. Now, we don't get any bonuses, but we're not hindered by the drain. Next up, we have the Master of Theology. This is our priest level 1. He's a bit pricier than a regular indie priest, and that's because we're paying for Inquisitor. Inquisitor means that you double your preach levels when preaching against enemy faiths. It's fine. I don't think I'm too in love with these guys. I probably wouldn't get them because we have the Bishop. The Bishop is not a Inquisitor, but he's already a level 2 priest, so you're going to have the same effect. He has 2 recruitment points compared to the 1, so I suppose if you're really, really going to use this guy for doing Inquisitor stuff, this is more, you can get them quicker, but generally speaking, a bishop is a level 2 priest, which means I can do Sermons of Courage and I can bless more effectively. He is old, but old doesn't really have stats I care about when all I want to do is preach and bless and do Sermons of Courage. I will note his map move's only 14. I guess there's another place, 16 versus 14. Maybe that's relevant. I do like to get a couple of these guys for our armies. We're not stellar on morale, so just having a couple can help. If you need to do banish work, then a priest level 2 is better than a priest level 1, so that's rather handy. Also, if you're preaching, you could preach all the way up to 5 candles if you are at a temple, so that's kind of nice. Next up, we have the Magister. This is a 135 gold, 2 recruitment point mage. He brings in a 50% chance for earth, a 50% chance for air, and a 25% chance for astral. So another weird mage where you can actually end up getting no paths somehow. If you get lucky and get cross paths, it's kind of whatever. I don't love any of this cross pathing particularly. If you did bang into all 3 of them, he could get into a communion and do Rain of Stones, I guess, but we have a better person to do that. Overall, he is relatively efficient, 7 for 108 gold. Excuse me, he is relatively not efficient for 7 research for 108 gold. Does come in with stealthy, does have a siege bonus and a castle defense bonus. Siege bonuses are very relevant. Fighting your way or sieging your way through a citadel is forever if all you're bringing is a bunch of human troops with no bonuses. So this is appreciated, and they can do some support, hopefully, of some sort when the fight starts. They're also a spy. That's kind of nice. Remember, with spy, you can raise unrest in an enemy province, you can check in on some of their score scales, and you can check and see what throne you're at. You also get slightly better scout reports. He has the unhindered research, and he is a mason. Mason is what allows us to build all the way up to the grand citadels. So a unit you're going to need some of, but yeah, otherwise. Next up, we have the Magister Arcane. 13 research for 192 gold. Again, not efficient. He comes in with Air 2, Earth 1, Astral 1, and a 50% chance to get a 1, Fire, Air, Earth, Astral, and Glamour. So generally speaking, I wouldn't count on that too hard, but these are okay paths. We can jump into Communion. We could do air stuff, earth stuff. We could do Falling Stones. That could be a thing. He is old, and he's relatively old. So do note that. He's pretty slow also. Yeah, bad research here, unfortunately. But for 240 gold, this is a pretty decent mage. One thing that we were kind of spooked about, if they were fighting somebody who can just get cheapo Astral 1s, I would really like to fight Man and have all my Astral 1s roll a magic duel right at the beginning and just throw away my 90 gold for their 240. And even if you don't kill them all, maybe you blow out people who are key to the communion and can screw up their communion really badly. So kind of a mid-mage, but he's usable. If nothing else, he can do a stone skin for himself. He can do body ethereal or twist fate, and he can do some lightning, if absolutely nothing else. Do note that we are a ranged nation with longbows and crossbows, so True Shot is actually pretty good for us. Wind Guide could be good for us. We do have a little bit of fire access, so fire arrows would be difficult, but we could maybe get there. all good things for us. Finally, we have the Lord Warden, can only be recruited in our capital. He comes in with Glamour 1, only guaranteed glamour on the nation. Priest level 1, 7 research for 80 gold. Weirdly enough, our most efficient researcher is our Lord Warden. If you don't take Drain, I will note that he does not have the Drain prevention. He is Stealthy, Sacred, a Forest Survival, and he does have Combat Caster. Combat Caster with Glamour 1 doesn't really do much. I mean, I guess you hit somebody with Sleep Ray or something. I'm not certain. But he's also a good leader, and he has good protection. He has a crossbow. He has a great sword. He has heavy gear. I like these guys well enough. Who would I make my prophet? You start with a Castilian, and he would be an okay prophet. I think I would prefer to make a Lord Warden a prophet. Unfortunately, we do not have a heavy cav leader, or it would be him. So a little unfortunate there. I think you probably end up on a Lord Warden, but Lord Wardens already can do some other stuff for you. So maybe a Castilian would be the better route on that. That at least it gives him something to do since he doesn't have a bow already. As for national items, we have no national items. As for national spells, we have a few, and they're all in Conjuration. At level 2, we have Summon Black Dogs. This is a Death 2 spell, costs 5 Death Gems. Note, we do not have native Death 2. Put an asterisk on that. Black Dogs are all right. We'll look at the chassis here at the end of these. We have Summon Kushi. Kushi requires Glamour 2. We do not natively have Glamour 2. And I think put an asterisk on that one too. 5 Glamour Gems. We do have some Glamour income. Again, we'll look at the chassis here at the end. 5 gems for 10 of them is pretty efficient. If we look at the Black Dogs here, we get 5 or we get 20 for 5, so pretty efficient there. At Conjuration 4, we get Summon Bargeist. Bargeists are pretty nice. Death 2, 7 gems for 14 of those. We also get Herd of Unicorn. Again, Glamour 2, Nature 1. We definitely do not have that natively. 10 gems get you 10 of them. Unicorns are magical animals that have a magic weapon horn. Could be relevant, I guess. Overall, I don't think those are crazy good or anything. Unfortunately, we don't have Tight Rain or anything. Oops. And at Conjuration 5, we have Banshees. These are actually really good. Note, you would need a 25% chance off of Judge, or we would need our Vampire Lord hero to cast this. 25 Death Gems is not cheap, but you get a pretty good unit out of it. Let's go take a look at those chassis. First up, we have the Black Dog. Stealthy 60, Iron Vulnerability. They're an animal. They have 100% Dark Vision and Dark Power 2. Good unit to get you underground. They have a decent bite, no armor, nothing defensive. Going up to the Bargeist. Bargeists are kind of nice. Venomous bites. This is a nasty bite. 13 attack, 18 slashing damage, and it has a weak poison that is 5 poison magic damage. Stealthy, Iron Vulnerability, Curse Bestower. Anyone trying to attack this unit in melee will get risk getting permanently cursed. We have Dark Vision, we're an animal, and we have Dark Power 3. That's a lot of stats. I believe that is strength, attack, and defense skill. So with 3, I mean 19, 16 attack, and 13 defense is pretty disgusting. Do note that the Bargeist and the Black Dog, the Black Dog is not sacred, whereas the Bargeist is sacred. So whatever blessing you take might be relevant here. The Kushi is also a sacred. Of the 3 of those, the Bargeist is definitely the best with that attack and the high dark power if you're trying to fight underground. Unicorns, magic weapon on their horn. They also have a hoof attack. They are sacred. They have poison resist, stealthy animal, recuperation, forest survival, true sight, disease resistant, and they are smart mount. Smart mount doesn't do anything here. They have a high magic resist, which is nice for an animal, and good morale. This is somebody who could actually help you against Lemuria, since they have high magic resistance and they have a magic attack on their own. Otherwise, though, I'm not entranced with these. Finally, we have the Banshee. Banshees are pretty nice. Only death 1 to summon them in, even though they are 25 gems. But you get death, glamour, and you get 100% chance of water, which we don't otherwise have, earth, death, or glamour. So you could get a death 2 or a glamour 2, or you could break into a little bit of water. Either way, those would all be nice. They have fear, cold resist, poison resistance. They are undead. They need not eat. They're ethereal. They're stealthy. They have glamour. They're forest survival, spirit sight. They're an assassin and a spell slinger. Remember, spell slinger means less fatigue, but you cast slower. Either way, this is a very nasty assassin. Level 2 is pretty good at avoiding a lot of bodyguards. She has glamour and is ethereal. And you could spam skeletons. You could spam illusions. You could get yourself... I don't think you have spirit form, right? Yeah, you could buff yourself if you go with the earth. You could buff yourself with like iron skin, which would make her very hard to kill. You could give herself quickness. You could give herself liquid body. All good things here. She has fear. Nasty, nasty assassin. She has claws, which is a kind of mid attack, and she has a whale of doom, which you get 100% precision, ammunition 1, and this damage special, I think it's just fear. I want to say that's what it does. I could be wrong about that. I don't think it does actual damage. But either way, these are really nice. And if nothing else, they're extra mages with no upkeep. So I think you're going to really, really enjoy these if you decide to save up your death gems for them. Conversely, though, those Bargheists are not bad either. Not bad either. For other magic of note, I would say that because we have lots of crossbows, buffing them with extra precision would be really nice. If you can get the fire arrows is as good as it always is. We have Astral 1, so getting communion is not a bad idea. And if you're going to have a communion, you might want to consider just going up to Mind Burn just to guarantee they have something that they can do. You can do luck buffs. We do have Glamour 1, so that is something, although a little inefficient, but I suppose that would give your Lord Warden something to spam that would be pretty decent. And enchantment is hard to do, but some Strength of Giants would be nice. I think that's probably the big one. Fire arrows can be really handy. It would be incredibly rare, but Shroud of Splendor could be something you could get. Going up in construction, Alquills, we do have some native air income. If you do go with fire stuff, the Jars of Fire could be really helpful because you could spin that gem to do Phoenix Power to go up to Fire 2. Beyond those, maybe Imp Familiar if you do get your hero and want to do some more research boosters. Beyond that, though, it's a little bit difficult. I guess our Earth 2 guys could make Earth Boots, and then a Dwarven Hammer could be something. We do have Glamour, so some of the Glamour Dreamstone for research boost could be good at 5, but we only have 1 Glamour income and not good Glamour mages. In Evocation, I think we're looking at air stuff mostly, but we could do a little bit of Glamour. So something like Cloud of Dreamless Slumber with some work, you could do that. Warrior Illusions, of course. It's pretty hard for us to actually get Twilight off. I think you'd have to do an Empower. I don't think you can get to Glamour 2 normally. So unless you make a Pretender that's going to do this for you, unfortunately, I think Twilight's rather hard for us to do. We do have multiple people who can get some Dark Vision, so Nightfall's also an option if you do go that route. Another thing in Evocation would be Rain of Stones. 3 Earth and an Air is hard to do, but all of our communions will have this available. And this drops 5 blunt damage that mostly hits heads, aka anything without a helmet, especially mages, are likely to get killed. If you are going to do this, make sure you give your mages air shields, body ethereal, maybe some protection. Make sure that you don't hit yourself and kill yourself with this because you're going to feel mighty dumb. But if you're fighting somebody who doesn't have helmets and brings a bunch of old mages, remember that blunt damage gets increased when it does head hits. So you are not unlikely to just straight up kill a mage with a rock to the head, which is absolutely hilarious. Moving on from that, in Alteration, I think that the Earth buffs are decent. The Air buffs, Mistform is one. We can actually do Mistform on people with just our straight up mage. That's rather nice. We also could do arrow wards, keep ourselves safe. And this is a nice large size. So enemy crossbows can be negated even more. We could get to storm with a little bit of work if you are so inclined, but do note that unless you're wind guiding, you're negating your own arrows too. So just think about if you really want to be putting up that storm or not. We could go up to the larger versions of these things pretty easily because we can commune. And in conjuration, of course, beyond our summons, we have the Phoenix power, we have storm power, we have earth power. All of those could be relevant. Power of the spheres could be relevant. I don't think we really care about Light of the Northern Star, unfortunately. Yeah, we could do some air elementals, although they're not what they used to be. They're still decent, especially if you're going to do a storm. Beyond those, some of these lower end summons are reachable, but remember, we don't have nature, unfortunately, so a lot of the cross-pathing is just not going to be there. We don't have high glamour either, so a little unfortunate there. So you could really feel the loss of a lot of magic moving into late age here. All right, let's bring all that together. Late age man has good heavy infantry that also has a crossbow, making very versatile troops. They have a usable heavy infantry. They have some okay lighter stuff. They have a very interesting longbow that, because of other troops that they have, I think is better than longbows normally would be in late age, because something else can tank for them and you can keep them kind of safe. We have a main battle mage that is decent. He at least can cast things that are useful, but he is old, so that's a little unfortunate. Because we resist drain for the purposes of research, we have some interesting scale options, and we need production, we need recruitment points, we need money, so we're looking at probably leaning into scales. I do want to show a battle off here. This is my Siege of Pythium, and you'll have to ignore the bad placement here. He just arrived, but you can see the idea here that we have these kite shield crossbowmen up front. We have longbowmen behind them. Unfortunately, a lot of those just got killed in the previous fight. But you can just see the amount of arrows that I'm throwing downwind. And we should see fire arrows come out here momentarily. There it is. And I think this is definitely an interesting way to go. Fire arrows are just good in general. And yeah, that's going to help a ton. You can just see how many troops I'm going to end up killing. So I think that works out pretty well. I really wish he was in the proper spot. He should have been right here, but you know, sometimes they mash your units together. So we have normally thunder or lightning damage is our main bit. So this also gives us a different vector of damage. He's doing some nice work up there. Much appreciated, man. Another thing that we have going off here is I have some astral ones from a throne I captured. So I have a lot more body ethereal than you normally would have. So just some food for thought there. Beyond that, we don't really have a way to get underwater. We're not particularly mobile. That's a little rough. But we have the good citadels. We have good solid troops. We have lacking late game magic. So I think we're looking at scales, and we're looking at scales and being kind of aggressive, because what exactly are these mages that I'm getting gonna do for me? I mean, I guess it's Thunderbolt. I think that Thunderbolt is probably your in-game spell, and that's a little unfortunate. So a little disappointing in the magic department here, and not really having any thugs available and having kind of a mediocre sacred. I think our options are, unfortunately, a little bit limited. Pretenders and scales. For pretenders, we have an okay amount, I would say. We have a couple uniques. We have the Great Sorceress. It has death and a glamour. Does have Spellslinger. Could be something of interest. We have the Magister Supreme. Very notable for being a 60-point chassis. There's only a couple of those in the entire game. So if you just want something super cheap, here he is. Just literally a Magister who is apparently a pretender god. Can make a quite cheap rainbow for you. We do have available the Great Enchantress if you want some more gem income. I think gem generators are better than ever in late age because of how few gems that you're going to get. Moving into Dominion 2, not overly impressed with a lot of these guys. I'm going to show you a Serpent of Heavenly Fires build that I think is all right. The thrice-horned thrice-horned boar, I wish we had a bear, could be interesting. You could take something like hardskin or larger, relatively cheap, and he can be an expander to help you out. Expansion in late age is brutal. There's lots of heavy cav, there's lots of crossbows, so I'm a little bit leery here, but with hardskin and then him self-buffing himself, he'll be high enough that he'll probably be okay, but just don't say I didn't warn you on that. You may consider wanting enough nature that he can do personal regen on himself and waiting until you have personal regen before he goes out. Beyond those guys, I think Celestial Griffin could be an interesting one. And if I did a Celestial Griffin, I think I would look at doing the Thunder Weapon Bless like this. He would definitely want to have personal misform before he goes anywhere, but Thunder Weapons would be okay on your Sacreds. They can use them both on their crossbow shots and on their normal weapons. He's very cheap. He is mobile. We have low mobility armies and we don't get Holy Threes. So this would give you your Prophet and your God could get out and about for claiming thrones. I think we're probably something along these lines. Maybe we could go lower here and raise that. Something along these lines. This would be playable, I think. Really leaning into the air. He can make you air boosters that otherwise you're not going to be able to make without empowering. This would be all right. Kind of a wild card option, I suppose. I don't think you want a dragon because I don't think we can afford to lower our production scales. I think we do need 2 production, unfortunately. If you want fire and air, I do think Heavenly Serpent's better. It's just so much cheaper than a Solar Eagle. Moving up to Dominion 3s. I'm not in love with a ton of these. Bountiful Forest does give you a water and a nature gem. That's somewhat helpful. Nature and water does have some amphibious summons, and you could do Bishop Fish here. That's a lot of gems. That's a 50% increase in our base gem income if you start with her awake. That is not nothing, I'll say. Beyond her, Morgana could be interesting here. They are a trinity, so you get 3 of them. Note that they don't have the drain protection though, and they do split up their scales or their magic pathing weird. So I don't know if that's going to be as useful in other nations as it might be. We do have the Healing Spring. She gives you a starting sight, which I believe heals afflictions, and then she herself is a healer. Also does bring in some different pathing with the water, nature, and glamour. I could see making kind of maybe like a dormant or even an imprisoned because she has a starting sight. Even if you're imprisoned, you get your starting sight right at the beginning. I think there could be something here. She's very expensive though at 270. Up into the Dom 4s. Irminsul, if you want something like just large or regeneration, he can be kind of cheap for that. Make him imprisoned. He does have a starting sight that gives you a nature gem just straight up from turn 1. We have the Monolith. I'm going to show a Monolith build here. And then we have the Fountain of Blood and the Oracle. Overall, not the best stuff here. I worry about trying to expand with like a Thrice-Horned Boar or other things. I just worry about that. There's so many crossbows and so many heavy knights that I don't know about expander gods yet. I'm not comfortable saying they're good at the moment. Let's take a look at a couple builds that I did do. First up, we have the Blarney Stone. Make sure to give him a kiss. He has larger and magic weapons, and he is dormant. This was kind of what prompted me to look at the rules for magic weapons. Another thing of interest here, larger makes your warden size 4. Normally that's pretty bad, but if you, when recruiting, go warden, defender, defender, warden, defender, defender, warden, what that'll do is when you put them in the same group, it'll actually have them share squares. They'll stay in their line order in the order that they are recruited, which means that you get a warden that shares a square with 2 people who have nice kite shields and will just help protect your warden a little bit. And when enemies get to you, you have a nice greatsword spread out evenly within your line. So killing things like heavy cav or really heavy infantry is a little bit easier. So I do think that this is a niche use. that also would spread your magic weapons around your line. So if you do have to fight ethereal units, especially Lemuria, I think that could be pretty good, actually. You can just sprinkle some magic weapons in your line. They'll stay still because they can stand still and shoot their crossbows, which are also going to take magic weapons. So I think this is an interesting utility pick. He's kind of boring otherwise, though. He can do some big spells. He could do Mother Oak if somehow you get nature gems. He could do Riches from Beneath or Earthblood Deepwell. He can do the Earth Astral boosters for you. They could help bring in some of the crystal gear to bring people into your communions that otherwise couldn't do that. That could be kind of useful. But he is stationary, so you're going to have to teleport him. That's unfortunate. Kind of a boring build here, kind of weird because of the drain. I do go high drain just because it's something different. I want to try it out. And by doing that, do remember that while that doesn't affect your research, it does affect your mage's fatigue when casting, but it also hits the enemy with that too. So kind of a double whammy on that. Second one I want to show is Flame Tongue. Flame Tongue is awake, and he brings in 3 fire and 4 air. His main goal is twofold. He can cast the large flaming arrows, and he can summon in flame spirits. So it's going to be hard to get in fire income, but if you can get some rolling, or you can just alchemy some pearls into fire gems, I think that's pretty usable. That lets us summon in Fire 3 mages that otherwise we wouldn't have available to us. And we probably want to go up Conjuration anyways for Banshees, so we're going to kind of be in the neighborhood to get those either way. He's also flying, which means he can run around and claim thrones pretty well. And the Air 4 allows you to make air boosters if you are so inclined. That can help you out. He also has firepower, storm power, and storm immunity. So if you go the storm route, he can be pretty decent there. Do note, 0 protection, not super high HP, does have ethereal. So unlike the fight I showed off, you really don't want this guy in combat. Do note, though, he doesn't have spirit form, so if you did give him a protection buff from somebody else, he can actually take it, and that would make him much, much, much safer than he otherwise would be. Bless-wise, Inspirational Presence. I like the Wardens for leaders anyways, and this just lets them carry around extras and give them some extra morale for doing it, and some shock resistance, just to lower the friendly fire odds for our sacreds if we get the thunderstorms up and running, or thunder strikes up and running. So two chassis here. I think you also could just go with like an awake researcher could be a thing, because yeah, we have kind of spread around research that we would want to do. And I should note that Flame Tongue only has like 7 or 8 research because he does not have drain immunity, and he has a very high inept researcher. So that's a little bit unfortunate for him. Do we get a sage? We do. I do think that this guy could be interesting. He has high enough research that having 3 drains not going to hurt him that much, and he does have Inspirational Researcher +1. I could see going this route if you want a very boring bless. Like, I'm talking like magic weapons. Magic weapons is my bless. And we start awake. We're going to go drain heavily. Okay, yeah, this is looking all right. With 30 left, I probably go up here and I add a little bit of variety. So you could grab 2 in a pathing. I would probably go here, and then I could empower up to 3 and make flame spirits. Something like this. So very, very boring, but just really, really pushing your research forward. In conclusion, Late Age Man has some pretty decent troops. I do like their lineup down here. Their magic is usable, but not particularly special. And I feel like this is a nation that you need to do really well with early on, because I'm not seeing a lot of late game here. A usable but not spammable sacred, a mage that's fine but not stellar, and his pathing isn't into the things that scale very well late game. We have a drop of blood, but not enough to truly enter the blood economy in the age where blood is really important. So a fun nation. I do enjoy them. I think Middle-Aged Man, I think I like a little more. we did the tier list recently, and people really like middle-aged man more than I was expecting. But I have a feeling that they're going to say and agree with me that middle-aged man was definitely better than this. So a fun nation, but I think we're definitely going to be at the lower end of power scale. I don't think that we have the tools to really become a top tier nation here, but that's okay. Not every nation needs to be. They're fun. They have an okay flavor. It's just, I can't even say naturey dudes really, because we've lost our nature. Feudal human dudes that aren't tribal based. And yeah, the crossbows on their heavy troops is very fun. I like that. And I like the combo of those troops plus some heavy cav plus the longbow. I think makes for a pretty good one, especially if you go with the route of that I did with the flaming arrows to give them some extra power boost. All right, that's going to be it for middle-aged man. Let me know if I missed something. I do feel like maybe they're a little bit hollow and could use a little extra oomph. So maybe I missed something, or maybe that's just the way they are. If you enjoyed this one, don't forget to leave a like on the video. Always appreciated. Helps YouTube show it out to more people so we can get some more Dominions players in. If you're not subscribed, I hope this is the video that has earned your subscription. I'd love to have you back, either here in the comment section or perhaps join a live stream. And if you'd like to go above and beyond to support the channel, you can always leave a super thanks. You can join me live with a super chat, or consider becoming a member. As a channel member, you get early access to videos like this or whatever else I'm working on. And it goes a long, long ways to support the channel, allows me to pick up those other games that I show off, allows me to pay the bills and keep the lights on, as it were. Either way, thank you for spending the time here with me. Get out there and build some heavy crossbows, and I'll see you on stream, builders. Babble out.